Kitchen Party. Today we are setting our table up at the Brockville Public Library. And I just wanted to thank you both for being here and maybe just give you an opportunity to introduce, actually would be fun because your mother and daughter introduce each other. Usually I say people introduce themselves, but I think it'd be fun if you introduced each other.
Okay.
Shoot. Yeah.
Well, this is my mom, Sherri Marshall-Stobo. And Mom has been running her business for as long as I can remember, a variety of businesses. Her business now is SMS Home Rentals. And she has a whole bunch of short stay properties, some of which are her own, some of which she manages for other people. And she's kind of found a real niche for people in between the purchase and the sale of their home. So if you didn't already know that, now you do.
I did know that. I did, yeah.
And has taken on a lot of staging stuff too. And in my opinion, the home design is what she's amazing at. And she probably would negate to mention herself. So she's very, very talented at making a beautiful space where people feel comfortable. And working within people's budgets, too. So
very cool.
There you go.
How's that, Mom?
Well, Alex is actually one of my biggest fan, my number one fan from the beginning, and actually was really instrumental in me starting my business, to be honest, because I was doing a lot of what I do for friends.
Okay.
Because you love to do it.
Yeah.
So your friends...
You ever thought about being paid?
And that's what she would say to me, Mom, you need to actually, work this into something that you're getting paid for. So the nervousness came from actually potentially putting the pressure on and charging for something that I absolutely love to do, and then not being able to do my passion. So, yeah, she's been my number one fan from the very beginning. So thank you for that, Alex.
That's very nice.
And so it's been really cool watching Alex develop and grow her businesses as well. And, of course, her background and her education is tourism, event planning and tourism management. And so all of that, she graduated right at the time of COVID. So all of that just died and went on its side. So it was so cool to watch her not be one of the ones that chose to collect the syrup. And I think she had 4 jobs through the course of COVID, and that was the time where she launched not 1, 2, but 3 businesses all at the same time.
All at once, eh?
All at once, because she had these ideas, and she just couldn't decide which one was the right one for the time, because she had gone through all of these struggles through the COVID time. So anyway, Fairy Tale Loft it has grown exponentially, and she had her 5-year goals, of which she hit in 1 year. Everything just kind of exploded, and it was just such a beautiful, beautiful thing. And what I love, I think, the most about watching her grow this business is we were a Disney family from a very young age. The kids had, we kept going back and back and back. So to see Alex be able to bring this to other children that are here locally that may not have the opportunity, that's been a big drive for her to actually be able to do that. So it just warms my heart. I do remember her first event, the Fairies in the Park, back a year ago in the fall or summer, 2 years ago, and coming out of COVID. I think I cried more than anyone else, just watching the children and their faces and the parents.
That was your first event?
Yeah.
Fairies in the Park 2 years ago, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know why. I just assumed that, because I remember that, because we were new to the area, and we were going to bring the kids, but it ended up being like way too much for them to handle, so we ended up not going. My kids are definitely, they need their routines, so but I remember that one very specifically, because it was like, we were so new to Brockville, and we thought it was so cool. They did Fairies in the Park, and they were going to have a Tinkerbell who was going to be there, and it was a big deal. Yeah, it was very cool. Yeah,
so that was sort of the springboard and the kickoff.
Yeah.
And it was so cool to watch the parents because they hadn't actually had the opportunity to see their young ones be in these sorts of environments. So that was so cool. I don't think I'll ever actually forget that.
Oh, that's
That
so
was very
nice.
cool.
Thank you.
So 2 thriving businesses. Well, the other 2 businesses that you started all at once, did they continue or?
Yeah, no, they're all still there. I have another business as a freelance concierge, so I've done
cool.
some event planning for some wedding planners. I did a lot of contract social media for a while.
Oh, cool.
I had, I think, 6 or 7 accounts going, but it's not the work that was lighting me up, so I've dropped that.
Okay.
In favor of doing more event stuff.
Yeah.
And then teaching yoga. So
that's true.
I was
Yeah.
teaching at Engine House, but then I've also been freelancing with universities and colleges and camps and senior centers and all
Very
that stuff.
cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I did know that one too. So I'm still sorry. My mind keeps. I can't believe that was your first event. You know, I feel like you've been doing this like your whole. But
well,
then again,
it
you guys
wasn't
are-
my first performance, but
Okay,
it was
yeah.
my first event with my company. So
Right.
I've been doing this for over 10 years.
Right. You
Just
your
not necessarily
family
for myself.
performs. Your whole family performs.
Mhm.
Right? So yeah, not your first performance. Okay. Yeah, I had to get that straight in my head because I was like, there's no way. Anyway. So tell me a little bit about the friends that you have at the Fairy Tale Loft, the people that you hang out with and employ.
Well, I have lots of friends.
Yeah.
I hang out a lot with Tinkerbell, at least at the beginning. I definitely hung out with her a lot. And then lots of time with the Ice Queen, Elsa, the Little Mermaid,
Mhm.
Ariel, Belle, Rapunzel. Lots of time with Rapunzel.
She got to meet my son. That did not go well.
I heard differently from her. I heard that, she met a friend who didn't want to be, all up close and personal. And we respected each other's differences and just.
She was very good with him, I have to say, but it did not go well. Anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, there's lots of other friends. Sleeping Beauty. We have 2, maybe 3 new friends joining this spring or this summer.
Ooh.
One of them likes to travel through Wonderland.
Oh.
One of them is Scottish.
Okay.
And the other one is a tribute character from the 50s who wears a white dress and does a lot of singing.
Huh.
So we're excited about
You're
that.
expanding. That's cool.
Yeah.
New friends are always great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, each and every one of them has, their own unique words, catchphrases, tone of voice, friends, ways of doing their makeup and fixing their hair. So it's every single one is very different in the prep and how they interact. So that's really important at the Fairy Tale Loft that we make it different.
Yeah.
And pay attention to the details.
And do all of you ever like get together and talk about how you're going to handle the hard questions when little kids come at you? I feel like that would be an important part of what you do because kids will say literally anything or they'll do anything. A lot of them can be really impulsive at times. So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys share stories?
Yes, there's lots of sharing stories. Sometimes funny ones. Sometimes very rarely anything too sad or too bad. Finding delicate ways to say, like, hands to yourself or please ask before you touch my hair, those sorts of things.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's pretty intuitive. If anything goes down a path that's a little bit dark or a little bit sad, lift it and flip it. Distract, send it in another direction. And yeah, oh, that sounds like that would have been hard. Hey, what's your favorite thing to do in the winter? Or, oh, you know what? Spring's coming. Do you have a favorite flower? Oh, do you know someone else who likes flowers? Maybe we could get a bouquet of those for your grandma.
So, other business idea, just like throwing this out there, parenting classes. I feel like I can learn that. Instead of like, no, stop it.
Redirect is very strong, but I read something this morning. It was somebody commenting online. My future children will never have an iPad, and the follow-up was, fictional children are the easiest to raise, aren't they? So I don't have it all figured out by any means.
I used to give Bill, my husband, the gears all the time, because when I was pregnant, he used to say stuff like that, like, "Oh, our kids are never gonna have pacifiers. Our kids are never gonna watch TV." And like I at that point, I had been around a lot more kids than he had. I would just laugh. I was like, "Okay, sweetie, if that's what you think, all right, I support that." But you know, all those intentions are all well and good until you have that tiny person. And you're just like, oh God, I have a tiny person now. And yeah, and then it's whatever works. Really, that's the rule. It's whatever works.
Yeah.
And exactly. I mean, you have experience in that too. You've got a couple that you've raised and raised well.
Yeah,
they're both very hardworking and a lot of fun to watch perform. And your brother performs a lot too.
He does.
I always enjoy watching. He will forever be the dentist from Little Shop of Horrors in my mind. Poor guy. Hilarious.
There's
though,
a
right?
typecast. Everybody who performs often gets a typecast, and he, fortunately or unfortunately, I have the very sweet, innocent kind of characters, and he has the crazy and kind of like not so nice, which is not how he is, but he's very good at playing those roles.
Actually hilarious.
Yeah, and to take credit for that when being his mom in that particular show was like, oh dear Lord, please not let people believe this is really who he is.
Oh, it's so funny though. So funny. And your dad too. He's also on stage. Holy moly. Yeah, a whole performing family. Do you like to perform?
I did some back when I was younger, and I don't know what happened. Like once, I met Ben and had Alex and Reed, and it was about me putting them in the limelight, and they loved it.
Yeah.
I am quite fine not to be in the limelight, so I became the number one fan of getting people to the shows.
You were the momager.
And I absolutely love watching the shows. I don't think being on the stage would ever bring me the level of joy as to actually being in the audience and watching
them.
Those that you care for and other people as well. So I was in the last show. I did the waltz with Ben. So that was really cool, just being able to be backstage and actually be a part of the backstage family and seeing how that all came together. It was really enlightening and just gave me a whole full appreciation of everything that goes on.
It's a lot of work
to put all of this together. There's so much that people don't really, this is what they see, and they don't see everything else that's going on around you.
Absolutely.
And it's a lot.
It's a lot. And I think that's true of any kind of production. And really, when you think about like home staging, in a sense, is production. Fairy Tale Loft production.
Yep.
These are things that you have to put a lot of effort into and to master your craft as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back to some of the businesses.